Okay, now we are going to study summary of chemical reactions. Instead of going individually, we are going to study summary. Like if I say M means it will be all alkaline earth metals. Okay. If there any special conditions are there, then I am going to mention it specially. Like metal, alkaline earth metal, when treated with water, all of them are going to form hydroxide with general formula MOH whole twice plus H2. Okay, but the reaction requirement conditions of requirements are different. What are the different conditions? Suppose if you want metal beryllium to react with water, that time water must be in vapor state. When metal magnesium has to react with water, water must be hot. Okay. Calcium, strontium, barium, they are all highly reactive metal because of the low ionization energy. Down the group ionization energy decreases. Hence, what happens? Reactivity increases. So reactivity increases. Even they can react with cold water also, even that too at very high speed. Okay. Now, then this metal when treated with acids, then they will form MCl2 plus H2. This is simple reaction. It shows that this metal are basic in nature. Two things you will come to know with this reaction. Okay. What are those two things? These metal is above the hydrogen in the reactivity series. All metals of the alkaline earth metal group are above the hydrogen in the reactivity series. First thing. Now, if they are able to react with acid, that means they are basic in nature. Okay. So, any substance which is reacting with the acid and forms salt, or it can react with acid, then it is basic. Okay. So, that means all metal are basic in nature. All alkaline metals are basic in nature. Even name itself suggests alkaline means basic. Okay, but when you treat the beryllium also react with NaOH. Okay, so beryllium can react with acid. Beryllium can react with base. So if any element, anything can react with both acid and base, then it is called as amphoteric. Okay, this is way to prove that beryllium is amphoteric. Okay, so this is the amphoteric nature is explained here. Beryllium plus HCl gives BeCl2 plus H2. Same way beryllium plus NaOH gives Na2BeOH4. Okay, so it is not a problem about the product. It is problem about the what they want. We should understand from this reaction. It can react with base as well as acid, because with base that means it is acid, with acid it is base. If it can react as a acid as well as base, that means it is amphoteric. Okay, so we are going to study some more reactions now. Okay, next is summary of all chemical reaction. Next is about the reaction with oxygen. Okay. Every time I am repeating the same thing, here it is almost same related to alkali metals. Okay. In alkali metals, you must remember alkali metal, lithium forms oxide, sodium forms peroxide, potassium, rubidium, and cesium. They form superoxide. But condition is that when they are treated with the excess oxygen. In normal oxygen, everybody is going to form oxides only. But only sodium will form the peroxide, and rest all potassium and all will form the superoxide when excess oxygen. Here also similar thing, but elements are changing and some product also changing. When any alkaline earth metal, is treated with limited amount of oxygen, what they will form? They will form metal oxide, but there it was M2O just because of the oxidation number. Okay, but here barium, here there it was sodium, potassium, rubidium and all, but here this is only with the barium. Okay, so not beryllium. Don't get confused with the beryllium. It is not the abnormal property. It is not anomalous behavior. Okay, it is barium. Barium. Okay, and barium when treated with excess oxygen, that oxygen must be what? Excess. Okay, oxygen must be excess. Then it will form BaO2. BaO2 is which oxide? Oxide, peroxide, superoxide. BaO2 is which type of oxide? Who will tell? Okay, question is BaO2 is which oxide? Simple normal oxide, peroxide or superoxide. Okay, so everybody will think that it is not O2 like Na2O2, K2O2, then it is peroxide. Okay, how to decide whether a given oxide is peroxide, normal oxide or superoxide? Okay, that will be purely based upon the oxidation number. Purely based upon what? Oxidation number. So here in the very starting I told you alkaline earth metal does not show any type of variable oxidation state. So here barium oxidation state is +2. Therefore oxygen oxidation state will be how much? -1. Okay. So whenever oxygen oxidation states can be 3. If oxidation number is -2, then it is normal oxide. Okay. If it is -1, then it is peroxide. Okay. And if it is -1/2, then it is called superoxide. Okay. Now you can tell me which oxide it is. -1 it is, therefore it is a peroxide. Okay. So question was there, how many of the following are oxides? Okay, like that question was there. Is it understood? So don't think that like CO2, carbon dioxide. Okay, so like that it is normal oxide, but here it appear both are same. It is not peroxide. Why? Because here oxygen oxidation number is -2. Is it clear to all of you? So this is it understood. Only barium when treated with excess oxygen forms barium peroxide. Rest all are whether limited amount of oxygen or excess amount of oxygen in all condition. What they are going to give you? They are going to give you oxides only. Okay. Now when a metal treated with nitrogen, okay, this reaction will take place only at high temperature. Only at where? Only at high temperature. Why? Because of the high bond dissociation energy. In nitrogen, there have to be we have to break 3 bonds. Therefore, it requires more energy, which will be made available only at high temperature to form the nitride binary compounds. Okay. So, what will be the formula of the binary nitrides? What will be the formula? Empirical formula of the binary nitrides is going to be, empirical formula of the binary nitrides is going to be M. How much it should be? 3 N2. Okay. Simple. Nitrogen is -3. That 3 will be here. This is alkaline earth metal. So this will be 2 and it will be 2 here. So M3 and 2. Next, 3M plus phosphorus. Phosphorus also react at high temperature, but not that much high temperature is required. Okay. So it is forming what? Nitride. Nitride. Okay. Same way here also empirical formula is same. What it is same? Empirical formula is same. What is that? M3P2. What is the formula? M3P2. Okay. Magnesium. Sorry. Phosphides. Okay. If I write Mg3P2, then it will be magnesium phosphide. So this is generally called as phosphide IDE. Is that clear? Same way sulfur. Sulfur it will be Ms. Okay. So metal and sulfur here. Metal sulfides. What these are called as? Sulfide. Actually both are +2 -2. Therefore they both will get cancelled. Same way if it is selenium, then Mse. They are called as selenides. What they are called as? Selenides. Okay. Similarly, what they can give the tellurium also. Okay, what they can give tellurium, like metal plus tellurium. What that time it will be MTE. They are called as tellurides, or they are called as tellurides. These are the binary compounds. Hydrates already we have studied. Now we are going to study halides. Okay, I think all of you noted this. Then we will go for the next part. Okay, next one is metal plus halogen. That is halides. What they will form? Halides, and here there is no exception. They can, all metal will directly react with halogen. Okay, all metal will react with directly with halogen. There was a problem with what? Hydrogen. Okay, we cannot convert the beryllium into the beryllium hydride. What we have used? We have used a reducing agent. Okay, but there is no such exception here in case of the halogen. All alkaline earth metal, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, and barium react with all halogen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine to form halides. To form what? Halides. Okay, note down this. Okay, next one is hydroxide. When the given metal treated with, when the given metal treated with water, they will form the hydroxides. Okay, again key points you have to remember. 4 key points you have to remember, out of which I think already one you must know. Okay, what you must know? Lime water. That is not a, it is a key point, but most of the students are already knowing. Okay, next, out of the hydroxide, only amphoteric is beryllium. Okay, suppose in the examination you got any question and only one correct, single correct, and that if you find some compound of beryllium, this is called as a cheat code. What it is called as? Cheat codes. Okay, without subject knowledge, if you have to guess, then what you will do? You will simply use the cheat codes. Okay, so according to cheat code, it is found that when you are answering unknowingly and you are selecting the beryllium's option, then most of them are found correct. Same way chemical bonding. If the option contains hydrogen bonding, then if you select, then most of them are found to be correct. Okay. These are all cheat codes. They are not official. On research, on survey only it is found. Okay. So here, likewise, beryllium, same way if it is of the alkali metals, then nitro, if it contains lithium. Cheat code says that you select the lithium option. Okay, which one of the following is something and only one option is correct, then select with lithium. Okay, same way here, beryllium. Is that understood? Now, beryllium hydroxide is amphoteric. Okay, rest all are basic. And down the group, basic nature increases. Why? Because metallic nature increases. Metallic are basic, non-metallic are acidic. So down the group, basic strength increases. Okay. Everybody know that calcium hydroxide is called as a lime water. It is also called slaked lime. And quicklime is what? CaO. Understood? Then limestone is what? Calcium carbonate. These are the some commonly used terms along with their names. And most of the people, few intelligent students might have already known this. BaOH whole twice is called as a baryta water. Baryta, baryta water. Okay, BaOH whole twice is commercially known as baryta water. Okay. Uh, is it hydroxide? Is this understood? Mainly, you should remember the amphoteric nature of the beryllium hydroxide, and barium hydroxide is called baryta water. Okay. So whether it is consisting of lime water or not, how you will identify? You will send the carbon dioxide over it. If it turns milky, that means calcium hydroxide is there, and that milkiness should disappear when you send some more carbon dioxide. Okay, but that milkiness disappear due to formation of, question is this understood? the milkiness disappear due to formation of. Okay. Now let me see who will answer this. Okay. So to identify presence of calcium ions, it is very well known test, but now I could understand that few of them only know the actual fact. Okay. So when CO2 passed through the given solution, milky white appearance will take place. That is due to calcium carbonate and water. Okay. Actually, this is insoluble. This is what? Insoluble. Recently, we have studied in the hard water. Okay. Carbonate salt will not cause hardness. Calcium anything hard water. Magnesium anything hard water. But magnesium carbonate is not a hard water. Calcium carbonate is not a hard water because it is insoluble and milky white. Okay. So because of the milky white appearance, we are not confirmed that it is calcium, because there are lot of other substance like sulfate, barium sulfate also milky white. So that milky white may be because of the barium sulfate also. Okay, so to avoid confusion, further confirmatory test. This is called as a preliminary test. Once milky white appear, calcium may be available. But to confirm whether it is calcium only, then we will send excess of carbon dioxide. Okay, then that milkiness should disappear. Milkiness should disappear due to the formation of calcium bicarbonate. What is the reason? Calcium bicarbonate. Okay. This water and CO2 will combine with the insoluble calcium carbonate, but calcium bicarbonate is soluble. So whatever the precipitate which was white in color, now it is soluble. So milkiness disappears. Okay. Milkiness disappearance on passing the CO2 through the milky white solution is due to, what will be the answer? Due to formation of bicarbonate, soluble bicarbonate. Okay, note down this. Okay, next is oxides and peroxides. What is the next one? Oxides and peroxides. First of all, there are very important sentences. Okay, so try to read out and write it as it is, but after explanation. First of all, oxides general formula will be MO. Okay, and let us start with the first element and special element. What is that special element? Beryllium. Okay, beryllium does not react below 600 degrees Celsius. Okay, why it will not react? Common sense. What is that reason? Why it does not react below 600 degrees Celsius? Temperature you need not remember. Or if the question is why beryllium does not react with oxygen at low temperature, but others can react. Very good. Okay. What is the reason? I got the answer. Answer is due to high ionization potential or ionization energy. Is that understood? So down the group ionization energy increases automatically. It can react even at room temperature. Okay. So, but if you want that it should react, then instead of taking in the lumps, you can make it in the powder form. In the powder form, what happens? Surface area per given mass will increase. When surface area increases, rate of reaction will increase. Rate of reaction will increase. Therefore, it will become more reactive. Okay. Now, the main advantage of this, it burns brilliantly. That means so much of light will be evolved. The heat energy will be evolved in the form of light. Okay, and what it will result in? Result in formation of nitride and oxide. Nitride will be N3. Okay, sorry, B3 and 2. Okay, BE3. BE3 and 2. This nitro 2 here and 3 here. Understood? Same way BeO is the oxide. Okay. Now, very special element is magnesium. The special element is what? Magnesium. When it is heated at room temperature, at where ignition temperature is very less. Okay, at room temperature also it is ready to burn with oxygen or burn in the air, and it will produce dazzling brilliance. What is this difference between brilliance and dazzling brilliance? On and off effect will be there. Okay, so dazzling. Okay, so dazzling brilliance is used. Okay, and because of the low temperature, less ignition temperature, it is used in the thermite reaction. Okay, thermite reaction where it is used already very good. Okay, thermite reaction is used in joining the or welding of railings. Okay, train railings. Understood? So where we will be melting the railways, in the railways, joining the railway track. Okay, so for joining the railway track we need to melt the metal. At remote location we cannot carry electricity. Okay, so what they used to do, they used to carry out the reaction of aluminium with mercury. Okay, sorry, iron. Okay, Al plus Fe2O3 will give you the molten metal iron. So that iron is going to fill in the molten form in the gap. Okay, but that reaction requires very high temperature. So for providing high temperature initiation, that reaction to start, it requires high temperature. So we cannot provide that much high temperature at remote location. There what we will do, we will use the magnesium ribbon. Magnesium ribbon, when it is burned, it is highly exothermic. So that temperature is provided to the aluminum and iron reaction. Okay, so that's why it is called as a aluminothermite process. Understood? Thermite means it requires high temperature alumino because aluminum is used, and thermite welding can be chrome welding also. Okay, chromium. If you wanted welding of the chromium, chrome welding. Okay, in place of the Fe2O3, we will take Cr2O3. Then molten chromium will come out. Reaction and process is same. Raw material is different. Okay, if you want iron used as a welding purpose, Fe2O3. If you want chromium to be used as a welding purpose, then we will use the chrome welding. Okay, manganese welding. Wait, whatever we want, we will take that oxide. Okay. Next, it is also because of the dazzling brilliance, it is used in the flashlights during the photography. Okay, and next, it on burning, it will produce two things: oxide and nitride. Nitride on hydrolysis will give you the ammonia because this reaction sequence is given once. So magnesium plus air, product A plus B, and B plus water gives a gas C. So that C will be what? Ammonia gas. Like that, you should be able to join the more than one reaction. Okay, is that clear? Okay, metal oxide, sort of the metal oxide, beryllium oxide and magnesium oxide. Okay, they are highly stable or less reactive. We can say less reactive and thermally highly stable. Thermally stable means they should have high melting point or high decomposition temperature. Okay, so that is proved here. So because of these properties, they are used as a refractory material. Okay, what is refractory material? What are the characteristics? Where it is used? I am going to tell you here. Okay, used in the lining of the furnace. Furnace, I think everybody know or don't know. It is used in the extraction. It is a apparatus or it is a system or it is a arrangement used in extraction of the metals. Okay, so like blast furnace, is this understood? So inside that there will be layer, they will be called as a fire bricks. Okay, now after the fire bricks, inside there should be a layer or lining. That lining is made up of either magnesium oxide or beryllium oxide. Okay, so they are called as refractory materials. Okay, The substances which are used to give the inner lining in the furnace are called as refractory material. What they will do? They will avoid the loss of heat due to dissipation. They will not allow the heat to go outside. They will reflect it back into the furnace. Okay, that's why what they are called as refractory material. Okay, so why the beryllium oxide and magnesium oxides are suitable for refractory material? Okay, first of all, they possess very high melting point. Okay, see 2500 and 2800. Understood? So that means even the furnace temperature goes beyond this. Sorry, even the furnace temperature goes up to 2500 degrees Celsius, 2800 degrees Celsius also. No problem. They are not going to melt. They are not going to leave the surface. They are going to be intact in the solid form only. Second thing, even though sometimes by mistake the temperature, if it is going high, then if they are converted into vapors, then there will be explosion. Okay, so to avoid explosion, if they are converted by chance into vapor state also, vapor pressure must be very low. So they should have low vapor pressure. Okay, next they should be good conductors of heat. They should absorb and reflect. Okay, so that's why they should be good conductor of heat, but chemically inert. If the heat is coming during that heat or at high temperature, these layers, these lining should not react with the chemical kept inside the furnace. Okay, chemically they should be inert, thermally good conductor, but electrically it should be insulator, so that electricity should not be brought into the furnace. Okay, these are the properties required favorable for a substance to be a refractive material. Is this understood? Note down. Okay, very important objective. All beryllium compounds must be handled with care because they are highly toxic. What is toxic? That is poisonous. Okay, so even their vapors, if we inhale vapors or dust or smoke of the beryllium, then it will cause a disease called as a berylliosis. 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 Okay. It is a disease caused by inhaling the dust or smoke of the beryllium compounds. Therefore, these compounds must be dealt with care. Okay. Note down berylliosis. Okay. Now reaction of the oxide with water. Especially the reaction of calcium oxide, barium oxide, and strontium oxide. Calcium oxide, barium oxide, and strontium oxide react with water and highly exothermic. So we have to add the water slowly or add them to the water very slowly. That is called as a slaking. What it is called as slaking. Slowly, we should add the water because it liberates high amount of heat. Okay. Now their properties and after reaction, what they are going to form? Hydroxide. Okay. Remaining reaction with water are not that much fast and exothermic, but beryllium hydroxide. First, let us see about the beryllium hydroxide. Beryllium hydroxide is amphoteric in nature. Only hydroxide which is amphoteric is beryllium hydroxide. Okay, and it is soluble only when the given solution contains excess OH minus. Normal water contains only 10 to the power of minus 7 OH minus. So to improve the solubility, normally we will take the solution in which large amount of OH minus is available. What is available? Large amount of OH minus is available. Then solubility will be further improved. What will be improved? Solubility will be further improved. Okay. So that is the first thing. Second thing, magnesium hydroxide is insoluble in water. It is usual magnesium hydroxide. Down the group, solubility improves, solubility increases. Okay, and calcium, strontium, and barium are highly soluble, and their basic nature. This is weak base. This is amphoteric. This is weak base. All these are strong base. Okay, so because of the mildly basic, it is used in antacid tablet. Okay, where it is used anti-acid. Okay, so here what it is, weak base. What it is written here, weak base, and it is used to treat the indigestion. Used to treat what? Indigestion. Okay, indigestion means that whatever we substance we suggest, it is called as a antacid tablets. Okay, antacid tablets basic constraint is magnesium hydroxide. We should not take this because they are strongly basic. It is not useful because it is amphoteric, and the best thing to use is magnesium hydroxide. Okay, is it understood? Note down.